The large conference room on Station Concordia fell silent as Captain Alan Davis of the UES Horizon stood up. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes revealed his frustration. For 3 years, he had sat at this table with representatives from 17 alien species. For 3 years, he had listened to their demands, their conditions, and their thinly veiled insults toward humanity. The United Earth government thanks the Galactic Concord for their time, Captain Davis said, his voice calm and measured. As of this moment, Earth withdraws from these negotiations. We will be departing within the hour. The room erupted in noise. Some aliens shouted in their native languages while others demanded translations. High Chancellor Zrix, a tall blue-skinned Valthian with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on his face, raised his hands for quiet. Captain Davis, surely this is a joke or a negotiation tactic, Zrix said with a small smile that showed too many teeth. These talks are important for your species' future. Ambassador Susan Miller gathered her data tablets and stood beside Captain Davis. She was shorter than him but carried herself with the same quiet confidence. It is neither a joke nor a tactic, Chancellor, she replied. It is a decision made by our government after careful consideration. Earth will chart its own path forward. The Mesic representative, a squat creature with gray skin and 6 limbs, let out a harsh laugh. Your species cannot even travel beyond your own star system without our technology. This is foolishness. Captain Davis nodded to his team, and the 8 human delegates began moving toward the exit. Ambassador Miller lingered just long enough to deliver one final message. You misunderstand our withdrawal, she said quietly. It's not a tactic. It's a fundamental shift in approach. The doors slid shut behind the humans, leaving the Concord representatives in confused silence. On the UES horizon, Captain Davis called an immediate meeting in the secure conference room. Once the doors were sealed and anti-surveillance measures activated, he let his calm facade drop. Communications. Send the coded message to Earth. 2 words. Prometheus rising. Lieutenant Greg Johnson nodded and sent the transmission. Message sent, sir. Response should come within 20 minutes. Ambassador Miller sank into a chair. 3 years, Alan. 3 years of being talked down to, of being treated like children at the adults' table. It's over now, Captain Davis replied. Earth tried diplomacy. Now we try it our way. Back in the Concord meeting room, the representatives argued among themselves. Some saw the human withdrawal as an opportunity, others as a potential problem. High Chancellor Zrix listened to the debate with growing irritation. Enough, he finally said. The humans will return. Their planet needs our trade routes, our technology, our protection. They have nowhere else to go. Admiral Drav of the Mesic Armada shook his head. We should not be so quick to dismiss this. Our intelligence reports indicate unusual activity in their system over the past year. What kind of activity? Asked the Lunarian representative, her feathered crest rising with interest. Increased mining operations in their asteroid belt. New construction facilities around their 4th planet. Energy readings that our sensors cannot fully explain, Admiral Drav replied. Nothing concrete, but enough to warrant attention. High Chancellor Zrix waved a dismissive hand. Humans are resourceful, but primitive. Their most advanced ships can barely reach light speed. Let them sulk for a while. They will return to the table when they realize their position. On Earth, Defense Secretary Olivia Wilson sat in the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. Around her, dozens of military officers and government officials waited in tense silence. When the coded message from the UES horizon arrived, a wave of both relief and nervous energy swept through the room. Prometheus Rising is now active, Secretary Wilson announced. All sectors begin immediate implementation. General Frank Harris nodded to his staff. You heard the Secretary. Defense Plan Omega is now in effect. I want all solar system defense platforms activated within 6 hours. In orbit above Earth, the massive space station known as Geneva Prime received the orders. Inside the station's restricted Section 7, Dr. Eric Barnes and his team of scientists worked in a laboratory filled with equipment that would have been impossible to build just 10 years ago. It's time, Dr. Barnes told his team. No more hiding our progress. No more pretending to be less advanced than we are. He walked to a sealed door at the back of the lab. After a retinal scan and voice verification, the door opened to reveal a spherical chamber. In the center floated a small device, no larger than a basketball. It pulsed with a soft blue light that seemed to bend the space around it. This is what the Conquered fears, Dr. Barnes said to his assistant, Dr. Linda Powell. This is why they've tried to keep us dependent on their technology. They suspected we might develop something like this. Will it work on the scale we need? Dr. Powell asked. The math is solid, Dr. Barnes replied. The small-scale tests were successful. Now we just need to build the full-scale version. On the moon, construction crews received their new orders. Hidden factories that had been building conventional Starship components quickly retooled. Engineers opened sealed designs and began work on something entirely new. Back on the UES horizon, Captain Davis watched through the viewports as the Concord diplomatic station grew smaller. His second-in-command, Commander Patricia Lee, joined him. Sir, we're being hailed by 3 different Concord vessels. They're asking if we need an escort back to Earth. Captain Davis almost smiled. Tell them no thank you. We can find our own way home. Do you think they'll follow us? Commander Lee asked. They'll try, Captain Davis replied. But once we reach the outer system boundary, our new defense grid, we'll be waiting. They won't follow us past that point. As the UES horizon accelerated away from the station, long-range sensors on the Concorde vessels detected unusual energy signatures coming from the direction of Sol system. The readings were brief and faint, but enough to raise concerns among the Concord scientists who monitored them. What do you think it means? A young Valthian technician asked his supervisor. The older alien studied the readings with 4 worried eyes. I don't know. But whatever it is, it shouldn't be possible with human technology. In the darkness of space, the UES horizon continued its journey home, carrying with it the news that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. 6 months passed with no communication from Earth. The Galactic Concorde sent 12 diplomatic vessels to the edge of the Sol system. All were met by small, sleek human patrol ships that politely but firmly turned them away. Your presence is noted, the human captains would say through communication channels. However, Earth is not accepting visitors at this time. Please turn your vessels around. When the Conquered ships attempted to push forward anyway, they discovered something unexpected. Their engines would suddenly lose power, forcing them to drift until the human patrol ships towed them back to the system boundary. On the conquered capital world of Xanthia, High Chancellor Zrix paced in his private chambers. 6 months ago, he had been certain the humans would return to negotiations within weeks. Now he faced growing criticism from the Conquered Council. Chancellor, the report you requested, said his aide, placing a data crystal on Zrix's desk. Zrix inserted the crystal into his reader. The display showed images of Earth and its surrounding space, captured by the Conquered's best spy drones. What he saw made his 4 eyes widen. The images showed massive construction projects in orbit around Earth, Mars, and even Jupiter's moons. New structures that didn't match any known human designs. Activity levels that suggested the entire human population was working on something big. Zrix called an emergency meeting of the Conquered Military Council. The members gathered in a secure underground chamber, their faces showing various degrees of concern. Our intelligence suggests the humans are building something, Zrix said. Something that should be beyond their technological capabilities. Admiral, Drav of the Mesic Armada growled. I warned you 6 months ago. We should have placed monitoring stations throughout their system when we had the chance. What exactly are they building? Asked General Kor of the Linarian Defense Force. We don't know, Zrix admitted. Our spy drones can't get close enough to gather detailed information. Something is interfering with their sensors. Meanwhile, on Earth, the transformation continued at an incredible pace. Cities hummed with activity as factories worked around the clock. In orbit, construction yards built new vessels unlike anything humanity had created before. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Nancy Carter walked through a massive underground facility. Holographic displays showed the progress of Project O, Prometheus, across the solar system. Beside her walked Dr. Eric Barnes, the physicist whose theories had made it all possible. "We're ahead of schedule," General Carter said. "The Jupiter shipyards just completed the 5th vessel in the new fleet." Dr. Barnes nodded. "The energy core designs are working better than expected. Each new ship can generate twice the power we initially calculated." They entered a secure conference room where President Warren Harding and his cabinet waited. The president looked tired but determined. "Dr. Barnes, General Carter," he greeted them. "I need your honest assessment. When will we be ready?" Dr. Barnes brought up a holographic display showing a complex timeline. "The first phase of Prometheus is fully operational. We can now protect our entire solar system from any Concorde incursion. Phase 2, our demonstration capability, will be ready in 3 weeks. Phase 3, full implementation, will take another 2 months." President Harding studied the display. "And you're certain this technology works as predicted? The calculations are solid?" "We've run thousands of simulations," Dr. Barnes replied. "And the small-scale tests in the asteroid belt were successful." "This will work, Mr. President." General Carter added, "The Concord doesn't know what we've achieved. Their scientific understanding says what we're doing is impossible." On the outer edge of the solar system, a small Concorde spy vessel managed to slip past the human patrol ships. It carried the most advanced stealth technology in the galaxy, making it nearly invisible to conventional sensors. The ship's pilot, Agent Krell, was the Concorde's best intelligence gatherer. He had infiltrated dozens of primitive worlds before, but as he guided his ship toward Earth, he felt unusual nervousness. "Scanning for communication frequencies," he said to himself, adjusting his equipment. After several minutes, he managed to tap into Earth's communication grid. What he heard made no sense at first. Humans discussing energy levels that should have been impossible for their technology. Construction projects that defied the laws of physics as the Concorde understood them. Casual mentions of folding space and controlled singularities. Krell recorded everything, his heart racing. This was far worse than the military council had feared. The humans hadn't been negotiating in good faith. They had been hiding their true capabilities all along. As Krell prepared to leave the system, with his critical intelligence, his ship suddenly lost power. All systems went dark. Through his viewport, he saw a small human vessel approaching. It had appeared out of nowhere with no warning from his sensors. A voice came through his emergency communication system. "Concorde spy vessel, this is Captain Greg Johnson of Earth Defense. Your presence in our system is unauthorized. Prepare to be boarded." Krell's last transmission to the Concorde was brief. "They know things they shouldn't know. They can do things they shouldn't be able to do. Prepare for—" The transmission cut off. When news of Krell's capture reached the Concorde, panic spread through the leadership. Admiral Drav called for immediate military action. Others counseled caution, fearing what the humans might be capable. Huffed in his private chambers, High Chancellor Zrix reviewed the fragments of Krell's transmission again and again. His political future now hung by a thread. If the humans had truly developed technology beyond what the Concorde thought possible, his dismissive approach over the past 3 years would be seen as a catastrophic failure. "Send a message to my personal guard," Zrix told his aide. "I want our fastest diplomatic vessel prepared. I will go to the humans myself." "Chancellor, the Council has not approved direct contact," the aide warned. "The Council does not yet understand the gravity of the situation," Zrix replied. "If Krell's information is accurate, everything is about to change." On Earth, in the secure facility where Agent Krell was being held, Dr. Linda Powell studied the alien with curiosity. The Concorde spy had been surprised to find himself treated with respect and courtesy. "Why are you showing me your facilities?" Krell asked suspiciously. "This is highly classified work." Dr. Powell smiled. "Because in 3 weeks, none of this will be secret anymore. And we want you to deliver a message to your leaders." She handed Krell a small data device. "This contains coordinates and a time. Tell the Concorde leadership that Earth extends an invitation to witness a demonstration. Their attendance is optional, but strongly advised." As Krell was escorted to a small ship that would return him to Concord space, he wondered what the humans could possibly want to demonstrate, and why they seemed so confident that it would change everything. The Concord Military Council argued for 3 full days after receiving the human invitation. Some members wanted to ignore it completely. Others insisted they must see what the humans had developed. It could be a trap, warned General Corps of the Lunarian forces. They capture one of our spies, then suddenly invite us to a demonstration? Admiral Drav pounded his fist on the table. If it is a trap, all the more reason to bring our strongest fleet. We can crush them once and for all. High Chancellor Zrix, who had canceled his personal mission to Earth when the invitation arrived, studied the coordinates the humans had provided. They pointed to an uninhabited star system with a dying red giant star. Whatever they wished to show us, they chose a location far from any populated worlds, Zrix noted. That suggests their demonstration may be dangerous. In the end, the Council voted to send an observation fleet. It would consist of 20 warships led by Admiral Tren Vorsa, the most experienced commander in the Concord fleet. The ships would be loaded with scientists and advanced sensor equipment to record whatever the humans planned to show. On Earth, final preparations were underway. In a special hangar beneath the Pacific Ocean, Commander Peter Wright inspected the UES Prometheus, humanity's newest and most advanced vessel. Unlike traditional human ships, it was small and oddly shaped, with strange geometric patterns etched across its hull. "She's ready, Commander," said Chief Engineer Maria Clark. "All systems check out perfectly." Commander Wright ran his hand along the ship's hull. "Hard to believe this little vessel has more power than the entire previous Earth fleet combined." "Are you nervous about the demonstration?" Chief Clark asked. Commander Wright smiled. "A little. We're about to change galactic history. But the science is sound, and the test runs worked flawlessly." 3 days later, the UES Prometheus arrived at the designated star system. Commander Wright and his crew of 12 waited patiently as sensors showed the approaching Concord fleet. The alien vessels were massive compared to the human ship, bristling with weapons and scanning equipment. A communication request came through. Commander Wright accepted it, and the stern face of Admiral Tren Vorsa appeared on the main display. "Human vessel. This is Admiral Tren Vorsa of the Galactic Concord. We have arrived as requested for your demonstration. Be advised that any hostile action will be met with immediate force." Commander Wright nodded respectfully. "Admiral, this is Commander Peter Wright of the United Earth ship Prometheus. We appreciate your attendance. What you are about to witness is not a weapon, though it could become one. This is Demonstration Alpha of Project Prometheus." He turned to his crew. "Begin the sequence." Outside the ship, a series of devices extended from the hull. For several minutes, nothing seemed to happen. On the Concord ship, scientists monitored their instruments with growing confusion. "They're generating some kind of energy field," one reported to Admiral Tren Vorsa. "But it's like nothing we've ever seen before." Suddenly, the space around the dying red giant began to warp. It was subtle at first, a slight bending of light. Then it became more pronounced. The massive star, which had been slowly dying for millions of years, began to collapse at an accelerated rate. "What are they doing?" Admiral Tren Vorsa demanded. "Are they creating a black hole?" The Concord scientists had no answers. Their instruments were recording data that contradicted the fundamental laws of physics as they understood them. The collapsing star shrank rapidly, centuries of stellar death compressed into minutes. But instead of forming a black hole as the Concord scientists expected, the star's material compressed into something else entirely. A contained singularity that pulsed with energy. Even more shocking, the human ship somehow connected to this singularity. Energy flowed between them in visible streams of light. The UES Prometheus began to glow with power. "Admiral," one of the scientists called out, "the human ship's energy readings are off the scale. Our instruments can't even measure it." Before Admiral Tren Vorsa could respond, the human ship vanished. One moment it was there, the next it was gone. No acceleration, no faster-than-light flash, simply gone. "Where did they go?" the Admiral demanded. Unknown, sir, responded his sensor officer. They didn't use any jump technology we recognize. There was no wormhole, no hyperspace window, nothing. 3 seconds later, the UES Prometheus reappeared, on the opposite side of the star system, over 30 light minutes away. It had traveled an impossible distance instantly, without using any known form of propulsion. The communication channel reopened, and Commander Wright's face appeared again on the Concorde ship's displays. As you can see, Admiral, we've developed a new understanding of space-time. What we just demonstrated is the ability to harness energy from dying stars and use it to move instantly across vast distances without traditional faster-than-light travel. Admiral Trenvorsa struggled to maintain his composure. This is impossible. No known physics allows for such technology. Commander Wright smiled. No known Concorde physics, perhaps. But humanity has been exploring different scientific paths during our negotiations. What you just witnessed is merely the first application of what we call the Prometheus paradigm. We have 17 more to demonstrate, one developed specifically for each Concorde species' unique vulnerabilities. The Admiral's face paled. Are you threatening the Concorde? Not at all, Commander Wright replied calmly. We're simply showing you what we're capable of. Earth tried traditional diplomacy for 3 years and was treated as an inferior species. Now we offer a different approach. The UES Prometheus began to glow again as it connected to the contained singularity. We hope further demonstrations become unnecessary, Commander Wright continued. Negotiations will reopen in 7 days at Earth. This time we expect progress. I suggest you inform your leadership accordingly. Before Admiral Trenvorsa could respond, the human ship vanished again, this time leaving the star system entirely on. The Concorde flagship, silence reigned for several minutes. Finally, Admiral Trenvorsa turned to his communications officer. Send a priority message to the High Chancellor and the full Council. Mark it Emergency Level 1. What should the message say, Admiral? The officer asked. Trenvorsa stared at the spot where the human ship had been. Tell them everything has changed. The humans aren't bluffing, and we need to reconsider our position immediately. As the Concorde fleet began its journey home, the scientists pored over the data they had collected. None of it made sense according to their understanding of the universe. The humans had done something that should have been impossible, and they claimed to have 16 more impossible things ready to demonstrate. News of the human demonstration spread through the Galactic Concorde like wildfire. The recorded images of the UES Prometheus vanishing and reappearing across the star system were viewed by billions of beings across 17 worlds. Government channels tried to control the information, but it was too late. On Xanthia, the Concorde capital world, High Chancellor Zrix called an emergency session of the full council. Representatives from all 17 species gathered in the great circular chamber. The mood was tense and fearful. The human demonstration was a trick, declared the Mesic representative, an illusion designed to fool us. The sensor data says otherwise, replied the Valthian science minister. Our best analysts have reviewed it thoroughly. What the humans did should be impossible, but they did it. Admiral Trenvorsa stood before the council to give his personal report. I saw it with my own eyes. They harnessed energy from a collapsing star and used it to move their ship instantly across vast distances. No acceleration, no hyperspace jump, just instant movement. A wave of worried murmurs swept through the chamber. High Chancellor Zrix raised his hands for quiet. More concerning is their claim to have 16 more applications of this technology, each designed to target our species specifically, Zrix said. We must decide how to respond to their invitation to restart negotiations. The council erupted into argument. Some representatives demanded immediate military action against Earth before humans could develop their technology further. Others called for generous peace terms, suddenly willing to accept demands they had previously rejected. In a private chamber adjacent to the council hall, Zrix met with his most trusted advisor, Lixmore. The tall, thin alien had served the High Chancellor for decades. My position is in danger, Zrix admitted. 3 years of dismissing the humans as primitive, and now this. Many on the council are calling for my removal. Lixmore nodded. You need a way to salvage the situation. Perhaps direct contact with the humans away from the Council's oversight? Exactly, Zrix replied. I want you to go to Earth, establish a back-channel communication, find out what they really want, and determine if they're bluffing about having 17 applications of their technology. And if they're not bluffing? Lixmore asked quietly. Zrix looked away. Then offer them whatever they want. My political survival depends on resolving this crisis quickly. On Earth, the Leadership Committee gathered in the restored United Nations building in New York. The Grand Hall, once filled with representatives from Earth's nations, now held the small group that guided humanity's new path among the stars. President Daniel Baker sat at the head of the table. To his right was Dr. Eric Barnes, whose theoretical work had made Project Prometheus possible. To his left sat Lisa Rodriguez, newly appointed as Earth's chief negotiator. The Concorde observation fleet has returned to their territory, reported General Nancy Carter. Our long-range sensors detect significant communication activity across their worlds. They're panicking, just as we predicted. President Baker turned to Dr. Barnes. Your assessment of our position, Doctor? Dr. Barnes pulled up a holographic display showing the UES Prometheus during its demonstration. The technology worked perfectly in its first application. We successfully harvested energy from the star collapse and used it for instant spatial transportation. He paused, then continued more carefully. However, I should be clear about our actual capabilities. The demonstration pushed our prototype to its limits. We have the theoretical framework for the other 16 applications, but practical implementation is years away for most of them. Lisa Rodriguez smiled. That's irrelevant. The Conquered doesn't know what we can and cannot do. Their own science said our demonstration was impossible. Our position has never been stronger. So we're bluffing, President Baker said. Not entirely, Dr. Barnes replied. What we demonstrated was real, and it already changes the balance of power. We can protect Earth and move ships across vast distances instantly. The other applications are possible in theory, even if we haven't built them yet. General Carter added, sometimes perception is more important than reality in diplomacy. The Conquered believes we're more advanced than we actually are. We should use that advantage. 3 days later, a single Concorde diplomatic shuttle requested permission to enter Earth's solar system. Unlike previous vessels, this one made no attempt to push past the boundary when asked to wait. After thorough scanning, Earth granted permission for the shuttle to proceed to the orbital diplomatic station. Lixmore, High Chancellor Zrix's personal envoy, expected to be met with military displays or intimidating technology. Instead, he was greeted by Lisa Rodriguez and a small team of human diplomats in a standard conference room. There were no weapons, no armed guards, no visible demonstrations of the Prometheus technology. Welcome to Earth Space, Envoy Lixmore, Rodriguez said. We appreciate your willingness to meet with us. Lixmore studied the human carefully. Your demonstration has caused quite a stir within the Conquered. Many are calling for war, others for immediate concessions to your demands. Rodriguez gestured to the conference table. Please sit, there's no need for either war or panic. We never wanted conflict. We simply refused to continue negotiations where we were treated as inferiors. As they sat, Lixmore noticed something odd. The humans showed no fear, no nervousness, no signs of a species out of their depth. They acted with the calm confidence of equals, perhaps even superiors. The technology you demonstrated, Lixmore said carefully. Your ship called it the Prometheus paradigm. What exactly is it? It's a new understanding of universal principles, Rodriguez explained. Your scientists considered it impossible because they followed different theoretical paths than ours. The demonstration you witnessed is just the first application. We're happy to share this knowledge under the right conditions. Lixmore leaned forward. And those conditions? The same terms we've been requesting for 3 years, Rodriguez replied with a simple smile. Full membership in the Conquered, equal voting rights, fair trade agreements, technology exchange protocols that don't classify us as a developing species. That's all? Lixmore asked, surprised by the reasonableness of the demands. You developed this revolutionary technology, and you only want equal treatment? Rodriguez's smile remained steady. That's what we've always wanted, Envoy. Respect and equality. The Prometheus paradigm simply gave us the leverage to ensure we're taken seriously. Lixmore sat back, studying the human negotiator. He had expected threats, impossible demands, or signs that the demonstration had been some kind of trick. Instead, he found humans asking for exactly what they'd asked for all along, with the calm certainty that they would now receive it. I believe, Lixmore said slowly, that the Concord may be prepared to reconsider its position on Earth's membership status. Excellent, Rodriguez replied. Then we can begin drafting the new agreement immediately. The formal negotiations will resume in 4 days as scheduled. We look forward to a more productive dialogue this time. As the meeting ended, Lixmore returned to his shuttle with a new understanding of humanity. They weren't warmongers eager to use their advantage for conquest. They had simply found a way to ensure they could no longer be ignored. But one question still troubled him. Were they really capable of 16 more demonstrations, each targeting a specific conquered species? Or was that part a clever bluff? Looking at the confidence in Lisa Rodriguez's eyes, he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. 1 year after the demonstration of the Prometheus technology, a new building stood on the Concord capital world of Xanthia. The Earth Embassy was unlike any other structure on the planet. Its design incorporated elements of architecture from all 18 member species of the Galactic Concord, with the human contribution, a simple pillar of polished black stone, serving as the central support column. Inside the grand hall of the embassy, hundreds of dignitaries gathered for a historic ceremony. Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez stood at a ceremonial table, data tablet in hand. Beside her, High Chancellor Zrix waited with an expression that tried to hide his discomfort. Today marks a new chapter in galactic history, Ambassador Rodriguez said to the assembled crowd. With the signing of this document, Earth is officially recognized as a full member of the Galactic Concord, with all rights and privileges that status entails. She pressed her thumb to the tablet, leaving her DNA signature on the agreement. High Chancellor Zrix did the same, his 4 eyes blinking nervously as cameras recorded the moment for broadcast across thousands of worlds. On behalf of all member species, I welcome humanity to the Concord, Zrix said, his voice steady despite the political damage he had suffered over the past year. He had barely survived the calls for his removal, clinging to power only by positioning himself as the architect of peace with the suddenly powerful humans. After the ceremony, Rodriguez met privately with her team in a secure room deep within the embassy. Dr. Eric Barnes, now serving as Earth Science Attaché, brought up a holographic display showing the status of Project Prometheus across the galaxy. Phase 1 is complete, Dr. Barnes reported. Earth's full membership is now official and our trading rights are secured. What about Phase 2? General Nancy Carter, who had traveled to Xanthia for the ceremony, nodded. The Joint Research Initiative is proceeding as planned. We're sharing selected aspects of the Prometheus technology, primarily the energy harvesting components. The spatial transport applications remain exclusively under Earth control. Rodriguez smiled. The Concord believes we're being generous by sharing any part of our technology. They don't realize we need their industrial capacity to fully develop the more advanced applications. Are we still maintaining the illusion that we have all 17 applications ready? Asked John Foster, Rodriguez's diplomatic assistant. We don't need to, Rodriguez replied. The perception of power has done its job. Now we can focus on actually developing the real capabilities. Dr. Barnes brought up new schematics on the display. The joint human Concord vessel Harmony is nearly complete. Its maiden voyage is scheduled for next month. On the main view screen of the embassy's Grand Hall, live footage showed the ship in its final construction phase. The Harmony was unlike any vessel built before, combining the Prometheus technology with Concord engineering. It was designed not for war but for exploration, capable of reaching parts of the galaxy that had been inaccessible to conventional travel methods. Captain Kevin Foster stood on the observation deck of the orbital construction facility, watching, as workers from 6 different species applied the final components to the Harmony's exterior. As the human commander of the new vessel, he felt both pride and nervousness about the responsibility. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" said a voice behind him. Foster turned to see Admiral Tren Vorsa, the Concord officer who had witnessed the first Prometheus demonstration a year ago. "Admiral," Foster greeted him with a respectful nod. "I didn't know you were stationed at this facility." "I requested the assignment," Tren Vorsa admitted. "After what I saw your people do with that dying star, I wanted to be part of whatever came next." Foster studied the older alien's face, trying to read his expression. "Does it bother you working with us after the way negotiations changed?" Tren Vorsa was quiet for a moment. "At first, many in the Concord saw your demonstration as a threat. But in the years since, you've shared technology that helps all species, focused on joint projects instead of military applications. It suggests your people meant what they said about wanting respect, not domination." Below them, in the construction bay, a team of human engineers worked alongside Lunarian technicians, installing the Harmony's Prometheus drive core. The technology that had once shocked the Concorde was now being adapted to peaceful purposes, through collaboration. "The old guard still struggles with the change in status," Tren Vorsa continued. "For centuries, the 17 original species set the rules. Having newcomers arrive and immediately claim equal standing was difficult to accept." "Change often is," Foster replied, "but sometimes it leads to greater things than either side could achieve alone." 3 weeks later, the Harmony was ready for its maiden voyage. Captain Foster and his mixed crew of humans and Concord species stood on the bridge as final launch preparations were completed. "Engineering reports all systems go, Captain," said his first officer, a Valthian named Tekla. Foster nodded. "Communications, transmit our departure message to Xanthia Control and Earth Command." The communications officer, a human named Laura Chen, opened the channel. "This is USS Harmony to all stations. We are ready for departure and awaiting final clearance." On screens throughout the Concord and on Earth, billions watched as the new ship prepared for its historic journey. In the Earth Embassy on Xanthia, Ambassador Rodriguez stood with High Chancellor Zrix and representatives from all 18 species. "What your people have accomplished in 1 year is remarkable," Zrix said quietly to Rodriguez. "From outsiders to full partners, creators of a technology that changes everything we thought we knew about physics," Rodriguez smiled. "We always had the potential. We just needed the Concord to recognize it." On the bridge of the Harmony, Captain Foster received the final clearance from both Earth and the Concord. He turned to his diverse crew, seeing the future of interstellar cooperation in their faces. "Let's make history," he said simply. "Activate the Prometheus drive." The ship's core began to glow with familiar blue energy. Unlike the prototype demonstration a year earlier, this time the energy was controlled and refined, the result of combined human creativity and Concord engineering precision. As the Harmony activated its drive and folded space around itself, disappearing in a flash of controlled energy, one thing became clear to all observers. The galactic balance of power had forever changed, and humanity's voice would never again be ignored. The ship's final transmission before departure came from Captain Foster himself. "This vessel represents what's possible when different perspectives come together as equals. Sometimes abandoning negotiation isn't about giving up on peace. It's about finding a better path toward it." In the void where the Harmony had been, a small ripple of blue energy lingered for a moment, then faded away. The ship was already light years distant, exploring regions previously unreachable, carrying the combined knowledge and ambition of 18 species united not by force, but by mutual respect and the shared wonder of discovery. Earth had taken its place among the stars not as a junior partner but as an equal, and the galaxy would never be the same.